Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. So, of course, 2017 has just ended. And with 2017 came a whole bunch of horrible basketball decisions. Some really good ones, but also every team has, like, the regrets out there. So we do have this Bleacher Report article by Adam Frommo. Guys, I tend to review a lot of his stuff just because I feel like his opinions sometimes are interesting, to say the least. So he has every NBA team's worst regret from the year 2017. So we're going to go through this, give our opinions on it. I want your guys' opinions in the comment section below. So let's get right into this. For the first one, we have the Atlanta Hawks, and their biggest regret was not trading Paul Millsap earlier. So this I definitely do agree with. I believe, was it like 2015 or something like that, where the Hawks had that really good squad with like Al Horford, Kyle Korver, Joe Johnson, I believe was on that team, Paul Millsap. They had like 4 or 5 All-Stars in the NBA All-Star game, and then of course they lost in the playoffs. After that, they probably should have blown it up, because it's like they kind of closed the window like halfway, where it's like, all right, we're gonna blow this up, but not all the way. Paul Millsap, and in his younger days, probably could have gotten a nice piece back for him, or maybe even a pretty decent draft pick. So I agree with that. Boston Celtics letting Gordon Hayward try alley-oops. Okay, so this is stupid, man. Come on, man. Like, I believe that was obviously the play that he got injured on, right? Was trying to get an alley-oop. That's not really a mistake. That's just an unfortunate event that happened. It's like, yo, if the man got hops, then he's going to jump up and try to get him. It's like, that could have happened to anybody. That is not a regret at all, if you ask me. I'm sure there's probably some bitch-ass contracts out there. Al Horford's bitch-ass, I guess that wasn't this year, was it, that he got signed for that much for? Although Al Horford's been playing pretty decent basketball, so I disagree with this one, though. It's like, it was just an unfortunate accident that happened. Brooklyn Nets not getting more with Allen Crabbe. You mean, like, production-wise? Yeah, I agree with that, but that's his fault. The regret is giving this man so much freaking money. It's like, that is absolutely ridiculous, the amount of money this guy got. I believe he was, because I don't know, man, like, don't quote me on this. I forgot what team he's on, because, like, I don't really follow Allen Crabbe's career, because I believe he was on the Trailblazers, and then I think the Nets actually traded for him in the end. But yeah, it says right there, he has a salary of nearly $20 million, guys. Absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, I think just trading for him in general would be a big-time mistake. Charlotte Hornets signing Michael Carter-Williams. Okay, I mean, if you want to call that a mistake, it's like, it's not like he was like playing really good basketball at the time anyway. We do know they had a really good rookie season. I believe he got Rookie of the Year the year that he actually was like a rookie in the NBA. So I mean, it's like, it hasn't quite worked out for him in the NBA. Just the style of play has not really matched up well. But at the same time, it's like, I don't think they blew like a ton of money on this guy. Yeah, so they gave him a 1-year, $2.7 million contract. That's fine. That's not like a big, huge, like, oh my god, we spent $20 million on this guy. It was a low-risk, high-reward type of thing if the situation would have worked out. Chicago Bulls somehow giving up Jimmy Butler and a pick. Yes, man, like, I feel like they traded Jimmy Buckets at the wrong time. I know they were kind of like holding out for the idea that maybe the team would have worked itself out, but, I feel like if the Chicago Bulls could do it all over, they would have never signed Dwayne Wade, and they might have, maybe traded Jimmy Buckets a little bit earlier to get the rebuild going, maybe a year quicker or something like that. Or, I know there were some pretty good offers on the table. Like, I believe at the time, the Boston Celtics were willing to give up one of their draft picks to get Jimmy Butler, so it's like, yeah, pretty ridiculous, the trade they actually got back for him. But at the end of the day, it's like when you wait so long, you kind of lose all your leverage. So yeah, that is a mistake of more so like when they traded him. Cleveland Cavaliers trusting Derrick Rose. Another issue that, no, man, this is not a mistake. This dude got like a $2.5 million contract. If you look at his stats as a Knick, last season he averaged like 17 points, 5 assists for $2.1 million for a backup point guard. That is not a mistake. That's a W. And it's not like they trusted the man. It's just like, hey, like, come see what you can do out here. It's like, yeah, I will say, like, due to him not being knocked on the 3-ball, it's not absolutely great for him. But to say it's a mistake, once again, he didn't throw a ton of money at them. When I think of mistake, I think of, like, going all in on a certain player and then just having it not work out, like an Allen Crabbe. So, no, definitely not a mistake trusting Derrick Rose. I think it was a smart signing because they got him for so cheap. It didn't work out. I mean, even to say it didn't work out, it's like he can still come back and maybe do some things for this team. So, no, I don't believe in that. Dallas Mavericks trading for Nerlens Noel. So I don't know if it's so much a Dallas Mavericks issue as it just is a Nerlens Noel issue, because Nerlens Noel has not been putting up good stats. Plain and simple, that's his own fault. That's his own work ethic. I believe it was Rick Carlisle said that Nerlens Noel does not have very good work ethic out there. So it's like, that's not really the Dallas Mavericks issue. That's just Nerlens not playing to his full potential out there. So, And I believe, like, the trade for him wasn't all that much anyway. I don't think they gave up a ton for him. And it's not like he's on a multi-year contract. He's a free agent after the season. He can walk away. Bam, be done with it. As far as a mistake, I don't know about that. But then again, it's like, maybe I should, like, have a list of mistakes that I think would replace that. And when it comes to the Dallas Mavericks, it's like the whole team's just kind of an L right now. Except they got Dennis Smith Jr., that's a W. So, but yeah, I don't see a big-time mistake here. Once again, not like a multi-year contract. Denver Nuggets loading up on power forwards. Okay, so for me personally, the one that I think this should be more associated with, I feel like Paul Millsap. I know he's been injured and stuff, but him along Jokic. Paul Millsap, I believe, was an all-star last season, or it was last season, I believe. So it's like he's a solid player. What I think they should have done probably is trade Kenneth Faried like earlier on, because Kenneth Faried once upon a time put up pretty decent numbers as a starting power forward, so they probably could have got some value for him. It's like, yeah, they got a ton of power forwards on their team there, but yo, they probably could have traded Kenneth Faried, maybe packaged him with somebody else, and maybe got a decent guard or even like a late first-round draft pick or second-round draft pick out of it. So yeah, loading up, definitely a mistake. They got, I mean, you can see them all listed right here. It is absolutely crazy. So yeah, trade some of those dudes away. All right, next up, we got Detroit Pistons hard capping for Langston Galloway. I absolutely love what this man is bringing to this team. This dude is knocking down three-pointers, and he has totally brought an offensive, just an offensive mindset to the bench that we have not had in years. Like, he has been a nice scorer for us. Do I think he's worth 3 years, $21 million? Well, you look at some of the other players getting paid out there, and it's like, it's not that bad. Yeah, it says he's a 26-year-old combo guard, averaging about 7 points, 2 rebounds out there, but he does make big shots. As far as hard capping, I don't know a ton about how, like, cap works and everything like that, so I don't know what kind of, negative effects they'll have going forward. But, you know, you got other guys on that team that they signed for large contracts that I would probably say is a bigger issue than Langston Galloway. I love what he's doing for the team. I'm definitely happy with him. Golden State Warriors losing a playoff game. All right, I don't care about them bitch-ass Warriors, man. Come on, man. That's not a mistake. That just happens. It just happens. You can't win every single game. Unless, even that great Super Lakers team, like from 2001, they lost the game to the 76ers. All right, Houston Rockets exerting so little effort in a playoff closeout game. Okay, so I don't remember this game fully right here. I assume this is this the game that Manu Ginobili blocked James Harden? But yeah, it's like, well, I do think James Harden is a great player. It seems like, I'm not saying he's not a hard worker, because of course he's the hard worker. I mean, he is the best shooting guard in the NBA. So it's like, but I do feel like sometimes the attitude of him can kind of be like, you know, kind of like lollygagging around there, if that makes sense. Like, he doesn't always go as full or as hard as he needs to be, and maybe doesn't always, like, provide his team the leadership skills to keep everybody going, because it is your best, like, yeah, I know coaching is a big part of it, but at the same time, your best player on the court needs to be a vocal leader and be like, hey, guys, get going with things. Like, we can't take no risk here. So, yeah, I agree with that, like, effort. Trading cash for Edmund Sumner. Yeah, that's not like, I have no idea who this dude is. So, depends how much cash they traded away. I have no idea. Looks like $1 million. Okay, that's fine. Los Angeles Clippers landing Danilo Gallinari. More like Gala IRL knee. That doesn't make sense. But he is always on IRL. Seems like he's always injured. You put him on the team with Blake Griffin, who is also always injured. And yeah, you're due to have like a good portion of your season for you to not have a full starting lineup because you got one of two players injured all the time. So they gave him a 3-year, $65 million contract. I don't understand paying all this money to these injury-prone players. I know Blake Griffin also got himself a max contract. It's like, in my opinion, a big part of like production in the NBA. You could be a superstar and all-star player, but you got to show up. You got to show up every single game, and that's where value comes from. These guys are getting paid to sit on the bench. Like, that provides nothing at all for a team. All right, we got the Los Angeles Lakers waiving David Nwaba. Yeah, I know he was always a pretty good like defensive guard in the NBA. And I heard he's having like KCP is not having a much better season than him out there, but KCP's on a 1-year contract, so it's not like that's a big deal. But yeah, I mean, it's not like David Nwaba's like their all-time GOAT player or nothing like that. Yeah, he might have been pretty good for them this season, but at the same time, you got a pretty loaded backcourt there because you already got, you know, Jordan Clarkson coming off the bench a lot of the time. So yeah, I mean, to give this guy some minutes also probably would have been pretty difficult. Memphis Grizzlies firing David Fizdale. Yes, this is another good one that I do agree with. This was definitely a big mistake. This guy is a solid head coach. He was a solid head coach in the NBA. The reason the Memphis Grizzlies were losing is, for one, Marc Gasol no longer wants to be there. He's just over it. You guys got rid of Zach Randolph, who was actually putting up decent numbers on the Sacramento Kings, and Mike Conley was injured. Like, the beginning of the season, I remember the Grizzlies, they were off to a pretty hot start, and then Mike Conley went down. And yeah, when you're starting, 20-point, 10-assist point guard goes down, it is going to have negative effects on your team. You don't fire your head coach, especially a solid one, especially when you don't have a better option out there to sign. So, just a wrong choice in general. Miami Heat says, hello, Dion Waiters. So I assume this probably comes down to the contract he got. It looks like he got $52 million. I do know that last season he was actually balling out pretty nicely, hit a few game winners, was definitely bringing some excitement to that Miami Heat culture. It really comes down to if you give him like a, I guess over the course of 4 years, that is actually a pretty expensive contract. That's roughly what, like, roughly $12-13 million a season, maybe give or take. My bitch-ass math out there, something like that. That is a lot of money for this guy, but, the season he was having, he was definitely earning that type of money. Now, it's his job as a player that once you get that contract to continue putting out production. I mean, you get a lot of guys, they go into a contract season, they give it their all, and then they just stop playing basketball after that because they got the money locked up. And for them, it's like they don't care about winning, they just care about getting paid. So, at the time, I think he deserved pretty good money. Maybe not quite that good, but yeah, it seems like I don't really hear much about him this season, so he's probably not doing all that well. All right, Milwaukee Bucks not helping Jason Kidd on defense. I don't know what you mean about that. Maybe I don't want to read all this because that just takes forever. But I do know this team is pretty lengthy, and you think they would be pretty solid on defense. But it says they are sitting number 22, so yeah, I guess it's like, what more do you add? Like Eric Bledsoe, he was always known to be a pretty good, solid defending point guard. Giannis has the length. He should be killing it in the NBA when it comes to defense. Thon Maker's 7'1", shoots a lot of threes, doesn't play a ton of defense. John Henson's always been a decent shot blocker. Chris Middleton is 6'8" at the shooting guard position. So, yeah, I don't know if that's like, to me, that comes down to coaching. Like, the coach has to make sure guys are playing proper defense, has the correct schemes written up. All right, Minnesota Timberwolves failing to hire a minutes specialist. Yes, Tom Thibodeau. Oh my God, guys! I've seen theories and videos on YouTube talking about certain NBA players getting injured because this man makes players play so much. I heard he's a big reason why Derrick Rose got injured so much, just because he had him going all the time. Jimmy Bucket's going all the time. So I know there's been a few other players too. It's like, as soon as they go to play for Tom Thibodeau, they go down with injury because this guy is just he is so aggressive on his players, which in the end of the day, yeah, you should be up at the same time. You gotta realize, 82-game season plus playoffs in a lot of cases, it's dangerous, man. Playing guys that much, running up and down an NBA court, guarding NBA players, it's absolutely insane. Yeah, this is the, looks like the average minutes for the starters, I believe, 35.3 minutes. That is crazy. Oh my God, don't get me out of one of these Pelicans, man. Don't give me those Pelicans. How do you have literally the best center and the best power forward in the NBA and you are not dominating basketball? Etuan Moore, good for him, man. He's been playing nice basketball. He's been knocked down a 3-ball this season. Rondo had 25 assists one game. But come on, guys. Y'all gotta do better than that, man. Get a superstar. One of these point guards want to dish it out to these guys out here. Make a move, man. You guys are wasting Anthony Davis's career. New York Knicks, we have the Tim Hardaway contract. Okay, I will say, no way this dude's worth $80 million, but damn, he's been pretty solid for the New York Knicks. I know the Knicks fans are really starting to like this guy, and I watched him a lot on Michigan, and I thought at times he was very streaky, and I still think he's a streaky player. No, does not deserve that kind of money, but I feel like if he would have been paid a little bit less and still put up this kind of numbers, people would be looking at this guy like, yo, this guy is playing like a star in the NBA. All right, OKC Thunder, believing in Carmelo Anthony, okay, so Melo is averaging, 17.5 points per game, okay? I don't blame Melo for the issue going on the Thunder. I feel like he's actually, settled for that kind of that third role on the team. The issue I have, for one, is with Paul George. I feel like Paul George is not totally committed to the OKC Thunder. I really do think he wants to be a member of the Lakers, and for that reason, he's just kind of coasting the season. He's not going as hard as possible. And then Russell Westbrook, he just needs to be a better point guard. He's a great guard, but you got to put the point into the point guard. You got to point the team in the right direction. I don't blame Melo. He's probably the least of the guys I blame out of those three, with Paul George being number one, because I just don't think his heart's into it, and that's not fair to the fans of the OKC Thunder. Orlando Magic signing Shelvin Mack. I mean, I feel like the Magic have more issues than that. They got a lot of bitch-ass contracts on that team, but I guess it's what they pay him? A 2-year, $12 million? Yeah, they don't really have a lot of great guards on that team. Alfred Payton's going out there, blocking shots with his own hair and everything like that. I mean, $12 million for 2 seasons, that's not the absolute worst. It's $6 million a season, not bad. 76ers letting Markelle Fultz play. Yes, another issue where you have complete, like, short-term tunnel vision. Why did they play this Markelle Fultz if they knew he was having an injury issue? They did not need him to play yet. I know they were like, oh man, we can't have another rookie come out here injured and nothing like that, but look what happened. Like, he got injured worse, where if you would have just sat him for the first few weeks of the season, let him get things going, he probably would be out there playing by now. So yeah, I agree with that. Phoenix Suns being bullish on Josh Jackson. So, I don't know what they mean by that exactly. Maybe, like, picking him too quickly. Maybe they should have picked somebody else, I suppose. I think Josh Jackson's going to be a fine NBA player. The team is just so young. The Phoenix Suns are just such a young team. They still need a few more pieces. I don't think Josh Jackson can be, like, the main guy on a championship team. But, yo, you are heading in the right direction with him and also Devin Booker. I think Josh Jackson was a fine pick. They'll get there. They just need, a few more pieces out there. Portland Trail Blazers moving up for Zach Collins. Now, I don't remember what the trade was exactly for Zach Collins. I didn't know he was a solid college player. Obviously, he's like a top 10 pick in the NBA. But yeah, it's like the idea is when you sign guys like this right here, he was a good shooter in college. It's like the idea is like to maybe get like the ideal stretch four in the NBA, because stretch fours are so important out there. But at the same time, you just never really know. Certain players, they start playing a lot better than people thought they would, like Kyle Kuzma. Like, Kyle Kuzma would have been a top 3 pick in the NBA draft if people would have knew how he would have turned out. So I don't know if it's so much a mistake. That's more just like looking at hindsight and being like, yeah, just not maybe as good as he was in college. Sacramento Kings getting so little for DeMarcus Cousins. I mean, according to Vlade Divac, this man right here is the next Stephen Curry, so that's pretty good for me. And they also gave I would say George Hill's $19 million contract for like 2 or 3 seasons is a lot more of an L than the DeMarcus Cousins trade, just because Cousins was going to walk anyway, so they got something for him, right? We got San Antonio Spurs letting Kawhi Leonard keep playing. So this must be assuming after the injury happened. I believe he continued playing after Zaza Pachulia like stepped on his ankle. No, stuck his foot out and Kawhi stepped on his ankle. Yeah, it's like they kept on playing him, but at the same time, you really don't know that, especially during like the heat of a playoff game. Your mindset's not like, the coach is like, hey, can you continue to play? And the player's like, yes, I can. I feel like that, Kawhi Leonard's a grown-ass man. And that was his choice to make. Like, he could have said, I can't play anymore, but he wanted to keep on playing, so good for him. All right, Norman Powell's contract. I don't remember what it exactly. Probably says down here somewhere. 4-year, damn. 4-year, $42 million contract? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Norman Powell, he's definitely not having as good a season as I think Raptors fans expected him to. But, yeah, that's $42 million. That maybe should have been his next contract after proving he could still ball. Like, maybe give him a little bit, like something a little bit smaller, like a 2-year, $24 million deal or something like that. Utah Jazz trading for Ricky Rubio. I don't remember what the trade was exactly. It looks like they shipped off a 2018 first-round draft pick. Well, I will say, Donovan Mitchell's really stepped up. So it's not. I don't think the Jazz are going to finish as poorly as they could. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, maybe that they could have had a lottery pick and they could have drafted maybe a guy like a Trae Young or somebody like that to put in the backcourt with Donovan Mitchell. Because Rubio, you kind of know what you're going to get out of him at this point. So yeah, that makes sense. Where it's like, why give up a future pick like that for a guy that you just know what to expect from him? I do agree with that. And we have Washington Wizards putting faith in Tim Frazier. So, of course, they're looking for a backup point guard for John Wall. They say he can't play 48 minutes. Yeah, that's true. Tim Frazier, he was 27-year-old with 60 minutes per game, shooting 30% from downtown. Definitely not what you want for a guy backing up John Wall, who is now like notorious for like making 3-point shots and stuff like that. So yeah, they probably just gave him a bad contract. But yeah, it says right there, hindsight truly is 2020. Anyway, guys, I feel like some of these mistakes here weren't all that bad. Of course, some were worse than the others. Let me know in the comment section below what your favorite NBA team is and what you think, personally, the biggest mistake was made by your NBA team.